There. Can you hear me now? I was connected to my stinking Bluetooth. Can you hear me now?
There.
Can you hear me now? Yes, I can hear me now.
I was connected to my...
Maisie can hear me now. So sorry. So sorry. Ugh. That is like the 15th time I've done that. Welcome everybody. Glad y'all stayed on. I'm Bri, owner and artist of Upcycled by Bri. Tonight we're painting some wooden items with milk paint. So I have sweet Pickens milk paint here. I said it was 63 today in Kansas. Went outside, started building. I made some totes a couple of weeks ago. They sold out fast, so I wanted to make some more. And I had this idea in my head of doing a see-through side with some chicken wire. Now, I'm going to have the full DIY up on my channel on Thursday, so no worries. We can chit-chat a little bit about how I made it tonight, but I really wanted to focus on painting it. And then also, I had some salvage wood pieces that I did the oven cleaner method on. Stripped them down to some like raw-ish wood. There's still a little bit of stain on them. And we are going to do some oil wax. So, should be fun. I'm going to mix up the milk paint first because it does need to sit for a couple of minutes. And we will oil wax while it thickens up. All right, so sorry about that. Glad you guys can hear me now. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, so with Sweet Pickens milk paint, it is a powdered paint, and you're going to mix it with water. I like to pour my water in first and then my powder. It's just easier to mix that way. And you want your water to be, you know, like kind of warm. It helps. Now, I use old crusty milk paint tools, as you can see, over and over because it does not come off like DIY paint. So this is 1 cup. I'm going to pour it about 1/4 of the way full. When I'm doing small projects like this and I want it to be chippy and crusty and good, I don't care too much about precise measurements. If I'm doing something like a nice piece of furniture, then I measure and mix it a little bit better. Okay, so I got the water in, and then I like to use a different one so I don't waste too much paint. Oh, look, I have one in here. That was 1/4 cup warm water, and now I'm going in with 1/4 cup of milk paint. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. And I use my nice kitchen forks, but you guys could use a better mixing tool. And then, like I said, if you want a really smooth consistency, I would consider getting an immersion blender to mix it. Got Renee here. Hello, Robin, in from Michigan. Rachel's here. Hey, Rachel. Me and Rachel and Lisa Boone just did a collab video. That was my upload on Sunday, and it was a ton of fun. So check that out if you haven't yet. Leslie said it was sunny in Washington today. So it was 63, maybe even a little warmer in Kansas today. And tomorrow we're getting 3 to 6 inches of snow. Welcome to Kansas. Okay, so I'm mixing this up. As I'm mixing right now, it's still pretty watery. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes and you'll see how it thickens up. Hey, Denise. Hello, Elaine. I'm so glad to see you guys. I am so stinking glad to see you guys. One of the saddest things about having to kind of start over on that second channel there for a while is I couldn't go live until I was monetized. And I was so sad. All right, so got that mixed up, and then I'm going to do just a little bit of flour sack. So this is basil, if you didn't hear that part, and it's a beautiful deep green. One of my very, very favorite colors ever. And then this is flour sack. Hey, Chris, how are you? New York was 25 degrees today. Oof. All right, I'm not going to do quite as much flour sack because I'm going to do that on just a couple of little spindles. So we'll go like 1/8 a cup of water. Really, oops, there's some green in there. It's all right. It'll be kind of sagey. 1/8 a cup of water, 1/8 a cup of paint. I have measuring cups stuck in some of my favorite colors. Robin says this is her kind of cooking, right? So this reminds me of baking, Robin, which I am not super great at. Oof. I can cook. Baking, Linda said it's really, hey Linda, she said it's really windy, so she's cleaning out her craft closet. Linda, it was super windy here today too, which is why I did woodworking and not painting. 70 in Houston. Last time this year it was 16, says Elaine. Ryan. Linda, remind me where you're at. Okay, and then so I just did a little bit of flour sack. Lucia said she wants to buy more colors of DIY paint. Can I show her some colors? I can here shortly. I sure can. Think of a few colors you may want to see, and I can show you some that I've got over here. Here at the end. Remind me. Okay, so I'm going to let those sit. Like I said, as they sit, they will thicken up a little bit. And we're going to work on painting some of this tote here in a few. While those thicken, so I don't bore you, and do a little oil waxing. All right, drop me a comment below here in the live chat if you have used Sweet Pickens milk paint or any of their finishing products, because I know some people can get slightly intimidated by it, especially if they're used to using a chalk paint that's, you know, pretty simple to use. So drop me a comment, have you used these paints before? I am going to go in with just a little cheapy whatever brush here when I'm applying my oil wax. A lot of the time I use chip brushes, but my chip brushes are getting kind of, that one's not bad, kind of crusty. I need to get some new ones. And of course, whenever I'm using any of these products, I'm pouring out into a separate container so I'm not contaminating. And I think I have a little bit left. Okay, so this is Sweet Pickens Oil Wax, and it's a finishing product. You can apply this over the paint to seal the paint, or you can apply it to raw wood to seal the wood. They have it in clear, dark, black, and then my favorite is the white. The name is oil wax, so it's an oil-based product, and you need to be mindful of that. A lot of the products I use are all natural and water-based. You can, you know, real easy cleanup, safe for the kiddos. This one is oil-based, so if you're using rags and stuff with oil-based products, you need to make sure you're disposing of them properly because they can be combustible. So I went to my little Ace Hardware down the street and got the little $10 metal can with a metal lid to properly dispose of them. So I'm hearing, no, we have not tried milk paint. Hearing a lot of that. Thinking of it, thinking of it. Robin says she has used it, and she purchased a sample. Great. Good, good, good. Well, I wanted to show it more and more. It's a little more involved than DIY paint, but it's not hard. It's not hard. It's just different. Okay, so here's the oil wax poured out into the container. You guys can see that. It might be a little bit bright. So just a liquid form. It reminds me a lot of a white wax, except for it's an oil. And I'm just going to take it and apply it right into the cracks and creases of this wood. I'm going to go pretty heavy with it, and I'm not going to cover this thing completely. I do want a little bit of that old raw wood to show too. It does need to sit for a few minutes, so I'm going to apply it and let it sit. And I like the way that, okay, so the oven cleaner method is kind of trending right now. You use an oven cleaner, which is pretty abrasive, obviously, spray it onto your wood and it eats away at the stain, a lot like a stripper would. I did it and it worked okay. You know, I just did it once and it was just, it's a goopy, gross, yucky mess. Rinsed everything off with a hose and like a nice thick wire brush. And that's what I got. Now, I could have done it again and stripped off more, but I knew I wanted to white oil wax them, so I wasn't too worried about it. I've used Citrus Strip before, which is a traditional stripper, and I think it works better, so I'll probably just stick with that in the future. But it works. Denise, honey, this is just just a throwaway brush. I don't use really nice brushes when I'm using oil wax on stuff like this because the oil wax doesn't just wash out of a brush as easily as like DIY paint does. So I usually use a chip brush or just a yucky old crusty brush I have laying around. Lucia, am I pronouncing that right? I hope so. Or is it Lucia? Please correct me. Probably Lucia. What is the difference between milk paint and DIY? So DIY is a clay-based paint. It's all natural. It's thick. It's highly pigmented. VOC-free paint. It's really easy to work with. You can use water to distress your pieces back instead of sanding. Very user-friendly, beginner-friendly paint. Milk paint is also natural, but it comes in a powder form, and you mix it up with water, and it does not last. So if you mix it up, you need to use it, you know, pretty quickly within several hours or whatever, because it doesn't stay good. It does provide a really authentic chippy finish, the milk paint does. So if you're not really into chippy finishes, you can use an adhesion product called Extra Bond, and you can get a really smooth finish with it too. But it can be kind of finicky. It's not quite as user-friendly. It takes a little practice. So, Lucia, okay, I was right the first time. So, Lucia, I hope that answers your question. Let me know if you have more. I love both the paints a lot. They do very different things. If I'm wanting this old world finish, I go with the chippy milk paint. When I'm painting things like metal, glass, maybe slicker plastic items, stuff like that, DIY is great because it sticks to almost anything. Okay, you can see this is kind of like running and dripping down this piece. I'm going to let it do its thing right here and kind of soak in. Linda, the milk paint is food. No. Oh, I always get this one wrong. You're testing me. Is the milk paint food safe? It's all natural. I don't think it's food safe, but the hemp oil is food safe. Somebody else correct me if I'm wrong on that. Okay, so this has been sitting, oh, not that long. Probably 5 minutes while I'm yakking. And it's still not super thick. I could add a little more milk paint powder, which I might. Or I could let it sit a little longer. We don't have time for that, so I'm just going to add a little bit more powder. I just don't want it running all over the place. Let me read a little bit more, Linda. I don't think it's food safe, Linda. Just the hemp oil. Because the hemp oil says it right on there. Yeah, all natural, food safe on here. The milk paint isn't. Obviously, I need to do some studying. We get complacent, don't we, after we use products so long? Okay, I got that thickened up just a little bit. It is, Jamie, okay, Leslie said it is food safe. I'll check, and I will get back with you, Linda. I'll put it in the creative group. All right, so these are gonna sit, and of course, this is an oil-based product, so if it's dripping and whatever on stuff, it's gonna stain. Keep that in mind. Okay, when I was putting this together earlier, I hit a couple of the pieces already with some of the basil. They were white pieces of wood, and I thought it would be easier to get them painted before I got it completely put together. And as I was painting, I dried it with a heat gun. You can see I got some really good crackle in there. Then when I went and sanded back that crackle, that's where you got all that good chipping. So this milk paint that I already put on here and what I'm using now, I'm not putting any Extra Bond in it. Extra Bond is the additive that helps the milk paint adhere to slick surfaces. But since this is really dry raw wood, it's going to stick just fine. And I do want it to chip a little, so no bond. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm going to grab my Klingon. This is my F40. It's a flat brush, hence the F there. And it's fairly small. It's going to get down into the inside of this pretty well. I like using my Klingon brushes with the milk paint because they're a lot easier to clean than some of the other brushes I use. Oh, thank you, Leslie. Leslie has my back. Okay, there you go, Linda. Sweet Pickens is a true milk paint, comes in a powder form, and is environmentally safe, non-toxic, and food safe. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you. I probably skimmed right over that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, that says yes, Jamie's website, and my site probably does say so too. I just couldn't remember. So many products. Okay, so I'm just going to take my F40 here. I wondered, I don't know, I kind of want to leave the sides wood. and just paint the trim. So let's start with that. I might end up painting the whole thing. I really don't know. So like I said, I'll do a full DIY tutorial edited video on Thursday for this tote over on my channel. How I built it. I'm excited about the chicken wire frames. What would you put inside of here? My goal obviously was to be able to see down inside of the tote for decor purposes. I don't think this would be maybe super functional. I thought it would look really good with some amber glass jars in it. And see the inside of the frame here, this one was like a complete rectangle. As we're here, it's missing this section. So I could have flipped those around too and had kind of a different look where I didn't have the gaps here, but I was just playing around. I literally just like started cutting wood and building it. I'm not a master woodworker by any means. And I want this to look like old and crusty and authentically chippy. My chicken wire is rusty from the Natural Elements. All right, what are people saying? Bunnies and eggs, Lorianne would put in. Ginger Snap said it'd be an awesome harvest basket. Yeah, I'm getting kind of some fall vibes from it, but it's fine. I'll be able to lighten it up with decor. Y'all are probably all up in my face too, sorry. Not worrying about getting the paint on the chicken wire too much. I don't really care. It adds to my vibe. All right, I got a little bit of like wood showing through here, not super full coverage, and that's okay. I don't want to go too full coverage. I am going to sand back a little bit in distress anyway, so we're good. So as you can see here, this is not hard. You know, obviously you've got to mix the paint up. So that's a step. Whoops, sorry, that was my hair. So that's an extra step, but this isn't hard. It's going on super easy. And with these Klingon brushes, if you want to get a very smooth finish with this milk paint, you can. You just got to make sure you mix it up really, really well. And don't just slap your paint on. And when this is sanded down smooth, oh, it is so buttery soft. It's got a gorgeous, gorgeous texture to it when it's sanded. There were some holes and stuff in the wood, so I pulled out some salvage metal. I might switch that one. It's a hinge. I don't like it as much as this one. But on that one, I wrapped around some metal there where I had a gap for funsies. My heart really goes towards like industrial farmhouse vibes. Beth says she has 2 vintage wooden toolboxes that look a lot like my tote, but they're not open. One has a drawer, super cool, but not sure what to do with them. Any ideas? So Beth, I love to use old toolboxes as risers, like up on my buffet. I simply just set it there and then maybe set a couple pieces of decor around it. You could also use them on the floor with a basket to create some height if you like have a booth with a vignette. Create a vignette if you have a booth. With that little drawer, you could open it up and maybe hang some like keys or something out of it if it's kind of this industrial vibe. Or you could use it functionally. I use old toolboxes and stuff to store a lot of my craft supplies. The toolbox I carried to my booth is vintage. Okay, so I've got the frame painted. Do you think I should do the sides? Or maybe just a little bit? Leslie said basil is an awesome color, and I agree. There's a $3 garage sale sticker here. Don't be fooled. It was just a random piece of wood out of my stash. I think it was a broom handle or something at one point, and apparently it was a garage sale item. I didn't buy this for $3, I promise. I am going to do the handle here. Now this wood up here is slick. So we'll see how this milk paint, this will be a good little experiment. We'll see how this milk paint sticks to it. Generally, I would probably use a little bit of Bond. You see it's already beating up just a little bit. So it might all fall off. If it does, that's fine. I could also do a light sanding on this shiny surface to help the milk paint adhere, but we're gonna live on the edge. Lucia said yes, paint the sides. Leslie said yes, Elaine said yes. Okay, I will. I'll paint the sides. Let me get down in here real quick. I'm sad Jane's not on here tonight. I know this is one of Jane's favorite colors. Joanna said she has 3 vintage toolboxes. She can't get enough. I love them too. I love totes. So like, also, obviously this one is like old and crusty and gross or whatever. But if you make, you know, totes out of finished wood and do a nice paint job and seal them or whatever, they're super cute with like rolled towels in them. You can put your baking supplies in them, set them on a kitchen buffet, you know what I mean? Fruits and vegetables. I would not recommend in this old one. I don't know where this wood lived. All right. I should have painted the entire inside of the frames, not just one side. How many of you do woodworking projects at home? This is going to help me with future videos with power tools. Do you guys have saws and pneumatic nailers, stuff like that? Or are you guys doing wood projects more with like hammer and nails? Weigh in below. I try to make sure that these projects I'm doing, you can use a hammer and nails. This one, probably doable, but it might be a little tricky. Ginger Snap said this would be really cute for cutting boards and muffin pan storage, and I 100% agree. All right, cool. Do the sides. We're going to do the insides. Let's hit those real quick. I'm going to leave the bottom wood. I'm getting some like drippies and runnies. I don't care. I want it to look like that. If you watch my channel, you know, I'll quit saying that. That milk paint's going to be on my arm for a while. If you guys want to keep your clothes nice, don't milk paint in them. Been on for about half an hour. Looks like I got 70 people on. Thank y'all so much. And you know what I forgot to do? Tell you guys that you can find all the paint products and the totes I'm using. I probably did say it when I was muted on my website. I'm going to drop that for y'all real quick. It is in the description box below. If you're watching the replay, you can find it in the live chat. But you'll find all of this stuff in the Sweet Pickens milk paint collection. And then also I have a collection called Painted Live. I already have this stuff pre-listed. It is not finished, obviously, in the pictures. But as soon as I finish it, I'll go in and update the pictures. So Painted Live and Sweet Pickens milk paint are the 2 collections you'd be looking for. Boom, boom, boom. I need to start teaching Elena how to drop links for me. She's at volleyball right now, and then I'm going to go watch her last game, which doesn't start until 8:15. Seems crazy to me. Okay, there, I just dropped my link. That'll take you to the collections. Again, the Sweet Pickens milk paint collection, and then these are in the Painted Live collection if you want to check them out. I put measurements and all that good stuff in there for you. All right, so I want to show you this. My milk paint, since I threw more powder in there, is super clumpy. I'm kind of stirring it up and kind of digging up some of those clumps and getting them on here, because as those clumps dry and I go back and sand them, that's what's going to provide the good chipping. All right, I'm going to paint this side, and then we're going to do a little bit of heat gunning. Yes, good call. Okay, good call on painting the sides. You were right. Of course, I've got all of my little pneumatic nail gun holes showing. You could 100% fill those with some wood filler if that bothers you. I like, for simple, tiny little projects like that, sometimes I'll just use some air dry clay. And then I also like Durham's water putty is good for wood projects. And then if I really need something strong, I'll use Bondo to fill holes and missing veneer and whatnot. Cool. All right, let's do a little heat gunning. I want to get some good crackle on this. This shouldn't be too loud. Hopefully, I'm kind of close. Oh. Well. Oh, guys. Well, wah, wah. Hold on a second. I even plugged it in somewhere else so it wouldn't blow my breaker. Huh. Shoot, it's not working at all. That's super sad. Guess I should have tested it. I just used it earlier today. What's the trick, y'all? Did I break it? Okay, hold on one second. I'll grab my hairdryer. I mean, I've had that heat gun for a year, but I didn't think it should be broken already. Sorry, this might be a little loud. Okay, so I'm going to go on. I'm going to hit this with a blow dryer. I'm trying to get some extra chipping and crackling out of it. Y'all can chit chat in the comments for just a minute. So Leslie said that she has a nail gun and a stapler, and she's wanting, or I'm sorry, she has a sander and a drill, and she's wanting to invest in a nailer and a stapler. Those would be really good investments, Leslie. They do speed up the process for sure. Sacred Heart Design said she's scared to use power tools, and I totally understand that. You're going to want to educate yourself completely on them before you ever lay hands on them. You know, get you a professional to teach you what you're doing. Always wear your protective equipment because they are dangerous. Oh yes, Denise, I just love lives. I was just using my heat gun earlier. It wasn't, I don't know why it's not working now. It's okay. This blow dryer kind of sucks too. That's alright. We're going to roll with it. If I like hold it right on there, it's almost crackling it. You know, the heat gun works a lot better. That's okay though. But this is why I didn't use any Bond, because as you can see, it's sticking just fine. Got my handle wet and I can't move this. Oh, you guys. Yeah, I'm a mess. I'll probably have a little bit more to do after we hop off tonight. I can't be late for volleyball, obviously. And then the big old final reveal will be on Thursday. Thursday's edited video will show you how I made this tote, and we'll have all of the Sweet Pickens information on there in case you want to go back and refer to all of this info later. Sabrina says, can you use the hairdryer to other items like vases and etc.? Yes, be careful. Obviously, if you're going to use it on metal, it's going to be hot. But I would highly recommend investing in a heat gun when you have a chance. It works way better. That heat gun gets like 500 degrees. It works a lot faster, and it bubbles and chips this paint a lot better. But it's okay. If you don't have one, this is your alternative. Lucia asked whatever happened with my channel. So I got, my email got hacked, Lucia, is what happened. And they accessed my channel that way. Now I have gone in and secured everything, and double secured and triple secured, and really stepped up the security on my sites and stuff. It was scary for sure. Leslie said she'd love a miter saw. Yes, yes. Leslie, my miter saw has been a game changer for sure. Cutting like big things like this was about impossible for me before. So when I was using the heat gun earlier, like I said, I was getting some of this really big crackling. And as you sand that crackling, then that paint starts to really chip off. Two of these pieces of wood were white already, which is what you're seeing down there. I'm going to see if I can do this two-handed. I really wanted a coffee before this, but I didn't because it's so late. If you are just hopping on, a couple people just said hello. I am using Sweet Pickens milk paint tonight on this handmade tote. I'm doing an edited video on Thursday on this tote, so you can see the full final reveal on Thursday. All these paint and products are over in the Sweet Pickens collection on my website. I've dropped that in the comments, and it's also down in the description. And then the items I'm working on are over in the Painted Live collection. And this is how I actually kind of paint in real life too, you guys. All over the place when I'm doing finishes like this. Miles says he's doing a lot of woodworking using just a hammer and nails and is thinking seriously about getting a brad nailer. I would highly recommend, if you are doing this for a living and you're doing lots and lots of woodworking, to start investing in some tools. It took the quality of my projects up a lot. Oh, okay. Butch says be careful when using a heat gun around glass. It can get hot and crack. Don't ask him how he would know. Thank you for that advice. That is a solid piece of advice. I don't work with, I don't paint glass a lot. But that is a solid piece of advice. I suppose you'd really want to keep your heat gun moving and give it a chance to cool frequently. Alright, nothing like watching paint dry. Let me give this just a second here to hang out. I like that color so much. Obviously, it's the color of my shirt. I always seem to match my junk somehow. I'll let that hang out for just a second, and I'm going to show you what this salvage is looking like. So I had the raw wood salvage that I did the oven cleaner method on, and then used some of my Sweet Pickens Oil Wax in white and applied it just with a random junky brush here. It's been sitting, probably for about 15-20 minutes now. I'm just going to take a clean rag and start wiping it back a little bit. Like I said, this is an oil-based product, so you want to make sure you're disposing of your used rags and brushes and everything properly. I got a little metal can from the hardware store. Now with that oven cleaner method, it stripped off most of the finish, but it did leave some. So now that oil wax is starting to kind of sit down on all, hi Jane, all of that natural wood. I was just talking about you, my friend. Jane, I was telling them that I was hoping you would hop on because I'm using one of your favorite colors. It's basil, sweet Pickens basil. And as you wipe that back, you can see it sits down in all of those creases. Oil wax does take a little bit longer to dry than some of the finishes, some of the other finishing products, but it dries super, super hard. So I will let these cure probably for 72 hours or so before I even think about wrapping them to ship them or like putting them in my booth. So you'll want to keep that in mind. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of the dark and hit the bottom just to make it blend a little better. Do you guys like using salvage wood in your decor? Like I'm thinking for this, I'm going to sell, well, it's already listed, but just sell it as decor, little shelf sitter, little stack of books by it, maybe a little brass animal, glass jar with a flower, boom. Paperweight, I don't know. Drop me a comment if you use salvage for your decor. Okay. And again, just another little chippy brush. That way, once they're completely gross and trashed, I can just toss them. And I've got some of the dark oil wax down in this cup. I'm reading comments. Beth said, on a funny side note, they refer to me as the pack master in their house. Every time they receive goodies from me, they have to figure out how to get in the boxes. You do an exceptional packing at packing them. Thank you, ma'am. I don't like receiving broken package notices. So, all right, dark oil wax going straight onto this raw wood. And now it's going to match way better and look like I didn't just cut it off of a bedpost a week ago, which I did. I kind of wish I would have done one more coat of the oven cleaner to get a little more of that stain off. It had like that old splatter stain finish on it, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to let that sit, soak in. We'll rub these down, and then we will do a little bit of sanding. Linda says she's loving the look. I like the white oil wax. So if you guys like DIY white wax, I know most of you are becoming obsessed, you will like the oil wax. It's a little bit different, like I said, but it provides a really similar effect. I could even go in on these with some dust, but I probably won't. Now I just want to play. Now I just want to put dark oil wax here and white oil wax there. I should have left, oh, here's one that's unfinished. So this is what it looked like before. Excuse me. This is what it looked like before with just the raw wood. You can see all those little splatters. And then starting to get some of that oil wax on it is just giving it a much more lighter look, but also a much more antique look. I mixed up that white. I probably won't even have time to get to that tonight. Glad I didn't mix up much. I was going to paint. I always think I can get more done than I can. I was going to paint these white. I'm going to turn these into candlesticks for Thursday's video too, but that will have to be off camera. Who else thinks they can get a million things done and they can't? I saw Linda's post earlier. Oh my gosh, it's 2:30 already. And I'm like, I feel you, girl. Of course, I'm trying to cram as much as I can in outside today since we're going to get snow tomorrow. I like how these are turning out. Now, you can layer your oil waxes too. So if you wanted this to be even more whitewashed, you can do another coat, but it does have to be dry first. Or I highly recommend it. Otherwise, it's just gonna, it's not gonna build the color. It'll just all rub off again. Cool. So that's what those look like. Again, they will take, you know, 24 hours to be touchable dry and a good few days to really be dry. The oil wax cures, I think, over the course of around 30 days, kind of like the DIY wax. It does take some time to completely cure. Hey Jessica, thanks for hopping on. Leslie said she hopes they're finished with the snow. Leslie, I hope so too. I'm over it, girlfriend. I'm over it. So I'll take some really good staged pictures of those and add those to the listing. And then of course on Thursday, I'll do some really pretty staged pictures in my edited video. So that's the oil wax. You can apply it over the paint or you can apply it to raw wood. Either way, it works fantastically. All right, now on this tote, I brought in some sandpaper. Generally, I would use my Orbital to make life easier, but I'm not doing that inside. Not tonight, at least. May have done it before. Now this is a 60 grit, which is super aggressive. Elaine said, please like and share the video. Thank you for the reminder, Elaine. I would highly appreciate that. On Thursday, you will have some footage of me doing the orbital sanding on this, and you can see how much more efficient it is. This paint is on there. It's not going anywhere. I did not get a ton of chipping and cracking, but what I can do off camera, because I don't have enough time on camera tonight, what I can do is go over a couple of spots. Probably I'll use either a little bit of the beeswax or another layer of paint, and then I will blow dry it some more while it's super wet, just to encourage a little bit more. But that is the thing with milk paint too, is it's pretty unpredictable. It doesn't always do exactly what you want it to do, which is why people can get intimidated by it, but you will never learn if you don't try. And the finish, like I said, the finish it provides is really unlike any other. Oh, that's the back of my hair. Sorry, guys. That's fine. Oh, and I'm sweating. Okay. So we'll stress around the edges a little bit. And I will do that around the whole thing. Oh, here's some of these good little chunks. So you see how I have the little chunks in the paint here? And when I hit over them, that paint will just slide right off. Which is why I don't mind those chunkies when I'm doing this finish. All right, what color of oil wax do you guys want to see on here? I am making a mess. Melissa said she wished her room was organized like mine. My kid's making a face at me. You guys just see the pretty part right now. Oh, Pam says it's only 30 in Texas. Jeez. What color oil wax? Or I could use regular beeswax. I could put white on this. Lighten it up. What do we think? Let's do that. Oh, so as a Sweet Pickens retailer, I get jumbo sizes of some of the products, which is what I have here. But the waxes come in much more appropriate sizes. So we'll wax this one side here on camera, and then I'm going to have to call it an evening. Take Elena to her second game. White for grins. What does grins mean, Leslie? Is that a hinge on the side? Yes, it is a hinge on the side, Jane. There was a hole right there, so I just, you know me, I just screwed on some salvage. Metal, I don't know if I love that. I might do something a little different. Over here, I did a patch with some metal that I bent in my vice grip. What, honey? Still good. Yep. That's okay. All right, so again, always taking my product out of my big container. That way I don't contaminate it. And to apply my wax, usually a chip brush. This is a cheap little stencil brush from Walmart. Just for fun, for grins. Gotcha, Leslie. That's a cute saying, just for grins. Elaine said dark oil wax. Oh, I know, Elaine, I'm torn. Oh, that's what I wanted to do too. But I figured I should probably lighten it up for spring. The consistency of the Sweet Pickens beeswax is thicker. Yes, Lucia, just 1 second, I sure will. Is a little bit thicker than the DIY wax, but it's still super creamy, really easy to apply, and it smells so good. The dry time is a little longer too. It doesn't dry quite as fast as the DIY wax. Okay, Lucia wants to see DIY colors, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to apply a little coat of this. I'll let it sit for a hot second, show you those, and then I'll wipe this back. That hinge needs to be rusty, said Stephanie. I had rusty ones. It is rusty. That's rusty, girl. I have like full rust ones. I could switch it out. I even have rusty screws. You guys, I keep everything. Salvage screws, salvage washers. You never know when you're going to need a little rusty, crusty piece of metal. Okay, so I'm going to give that a nice heavy wax. Let it sit for just a hot second. Okay, Lucy H wants to see Apothecary, which is one of my very favorite colors by DIY. Okay, so these are different containers than you guys are used to seeing. Oh, probably not. Actually, this is like an 8-ounce sample. Here is Apothecary. It's a very pretty mint color. If you watch my edited decorating videos, it's the color of my buffet. And then you said buttercup, but I think you meant cake batter. Oh, I don't know if I have a cake batter out here. Don't. Give me 1 hot second. Sorry to keep running off camera, you guys. That's probably not cool. Sorry. I don't have any cake batter here, 8 ounce to show you. It's a really soft yellow though. And I know Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs just used it on her one of her latest spring videos. Hop over to her channel and watch it. It's really pretty soft yellow. And I know I've used it on things. Stephanie says it doesn't look very rusty on her phone. It's not super rusty. I could find a rustier one. All right, now that the wax has sat for a minute, I'm just going to wipe it back. Oh, hey, Lucia, you know what I can do? I can drop the link to cake batter at least. I don't know if you've checked my website out before. But the color of cake batter on the site is very comparable to the actual color. Well, let me do that for you, at least on that one. Farm Fresh is, I feel, is a little more blue than green, asked Stephanie. I used Farm Fresh on one of my very recent videos as well, and I have it right here, Stephanie. Oh, the lid's about to fall off. I'm really glad that didn't happen. So Apothecary is a little greener, as where Farm Fresh is a little bluer. They look kind of similar in this light, but This is a lot bluer. All right, now as I'm wiping back this excess wax, you can see just like the other waxes I use, it sits down in all those little nail holes, all those little chippies that we created. You're welcome, Lucia. Let me know if you need anything else, honey. A gray color on the website. So for gray colors, Lucia, we have Gravel Road, Letterpress Gray, and Old School. And they're going to be, lightest would be Gravel Road, Letterpress Gray is a medium, and Old School is a very dark gray, like almost like an antique chalkboard dark gray. What do we think? I like how that white wax lightened it up just a little bit, made it more springy. So no wax, wax. I will finish this. I'll paint the other side. I'll catch up the spots I missed. I am going to try to encourage a little more chipping. I'm gonna try to hit that spot while I've got you guys on. See how it's runny and drippy and still wet right there? No worries, Lucia. She said thank you. I'm patient. I'm actually really not very patient. But I want y'all to get the info you need from me for sure. And not everybody loves lives either, because I do this walking back and forth and chit-chatting and stuff, and that's okay, because I have a ton of edited videos too. So I will take my time and show y'all what you need. Okay, so I just dried these little chippy bumps here, and as I, dang it, sand over them, you can see they'll just pop right off, and that's what's going to encourage some of the really good chipping to come through. Cool. Lisa said she just ran across my channel recently and she likes this style video, so I appreciate that. And look, up here on the handle where that wood was super shiny, you can see that milk paint is not sticking as well. So that's where the Extra Bond additive product comes in. If I would have added the Extra Bond, this would not chip off as easy. But I like that, and I'm going to encourage the chipping right there, because that's most likely where somebody would have been holding it, right? Boom. This will be super cool. I'll get it all finished up. Like I said, I will have an edited video out Thursday evening on this channel with the finished products and how I, the finished pictures and how I actually built this tote with the chicken wire. So if you're catching the replay, you can check the live chat or the description box for chit chats on the products and colors I was using. You can find all of that stuff over on my site, upcycledbybri.com. And then I also have the totes and the salvage wood I worked on listed in my Painted Live collection. Once I have everything finished, I'll update those pictures with the final pictures and go grab them if you want them. Things go pretty quick. So if you've been looking for a tote, go grab this one. I don't think I'm going to make a lot more of these because it was a little time consuming, but it was a lot of fun. So thank y'all for joining me tonight. I'm going to go to volleyball, and I will have a vlog style video on my lifestyle channel tomorrow evening. I went and saw Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs. We did a little bit of shopping. I got to meet Hank, and I'll bring y'all a haul over on that channel. So if you haven't checked out my second channel, check the description box below for that as well. Share this video with a friend, subscribe, hit the bell to all, and I will see y'all next time. Bye, friends. Goodbye.